We're not amazed and not amused by all the things you said that you do. Mm. You're much concerned but not involved with decisions that are made by you. Uh, and we just get tired of hearing this song telling us you're gonna change right from wrong. 'Cause if you really want to hear our views, you haven't done nothing. And you ain't gonna do nothing. It's impossible to do something. So let me just start this show off by saying good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, my illustrious, beautiful, beautiful family. Welcome, welcome, welcome to the Mental House with me, your host, Khadija. Okay, to vote or not to vote? That seems to be the question. That seems to be the mantra. And especially in the black community, I think that's a question that really, really needs to really be re-examined over and over and over and over again. Okay, because after being on the planet in excess over 50 years, I'm 59 years old. I've seen us vote our best interest, so we thought, and I've seen us vote our worst interest, our worst, um, our worst interest. So at this point, I'm really starting to wonder, and I know a lot of y'all gonna get so pissed at me when I say this, but you know, really, I can't care. I can't. Does your vote really count? Or is it just a foolish, silly waste of time, just another bag of tricks that this master of tricknology has put forth for you again to believe in? Now, I know y'all gonna get mad at me because a lot of people in my family don't even talk to me no more because of this very thing. As a matter of fact, most of the people in my family can't stand me. Let me just start right with that. Because most of the people in my family are extreme religious people, extremely narcissistic, or I hate to use that word because to me it's not being overkill. Well, they have some severe extreme personality disorders. You know, the kind that don't let you finish your sentence and they try to out-talk you and they never allow anyone to speak and only I guess they're only, they're just their way of seeing the situation is the way it is and there's no compromise. So I already know how they feel because they get real angry. And I also have a granddaddy who was shot and killed over politics. So this stuff runs real deep. And I realize that how upset people get. There's a book I want to encourage everybody to still get by, what's his name? D. Patrick. And the name of the book is Milwaukee, Selma of the North. I think it's real important that we read that book and make that book a part of our learning, part of our reading book club stuff, because it just shows you it's like Milwaukee is just a comicosm of all the larger society. Milwaukee is not that small of a metropolitan. In fact, it's a city with 1 million people in it. And the thing about it is, I've come to the conclusion, not only from reading this book, because my father is all drenched in the book and his work trying to make it right, trying to make an equal playing ground for black folk. And that was in the 40s and the 50s. And so I was born at the very end of the 50s, and shit hasn't changed. So I went through all the trauma of watching John Kennedy, watching Malcolm X, who was a friend of my father's, as I've stated before, Robert Kennedy, Dr. King, at the on. Then we go into the 70s with Anwar Sadat, and I mean, I've watched so much killing, and I've watched so much brutality, which a lot of you have, and except my brutality wasn't with beef in the neighborhood. It was just seeing the political climate of people willing to kill your ass for trying to bring about change in these United Snakes of America. So, when you ask me, does it vote? Does your vote count? Then I have to go to my later history. I worked a campaign with the only father and son team because I grew up with the family, and I was solicited to kind of help out, and I was like, hey, you got me, because that's what I do. And at that time, I didn't know how deep the rabbit hole went. So I know on the local level, politics worked, because we got out and we had a grassroots campaign. And we put it on, and I was a head of an organized and had a group of young people under me. And we went out canvassing and soliciting these streets and getting people to vote for Michael McGee Jr. Not Michael McGee Sr., because I'm sure a lot of y'all remember him from the Jerry Springer show when he hit that Ku Klux Klan member in the jaw. But I'm talking about his younger son, Junior. So it was worth for me going out and campaigning for this brother, because Milwaukee just needed a change. Milwaukee needs a change. So what we saw is a lot of white folks from outlying areas pumping money into a campaign for other black candidates to run against Mike McGee. That go to show me right there what kind of game this was. I'm like, you live in Waukesha, not Waukesha. It's in Waukesha. Why are you sitting up here, and which is an all-white, basically, city? Why would you be paying, trying to get politicians to run and defeat Michael McGee? Because you didn't like his politics. And this is how it worked. On the real set. The grass campaign was very effective. We got Mike McGee Jr. elected by a landslide. And we partied at the election headquarters. Oh, yeah, we drank and kicked it up and ate. And all the movers and shakers from the city were out. I mean, it was just a wonderful time in the city, and I had never felt so elated. And all of y'all who have ever worked campaigns and know that high, just the high you get from working that campaign and all the stuff that go along with it, it's a phenomenal feeling. And I think that feeling lasted every bit of 3 months, because those white folks were so mad at this man for winning that election, that the rabbit hole went so deep that they got some charges trumped up on him, and they started accusing him of all of this crazy stuff. So he was arrested. This is what happened to my alderman, because it's my district, and I ran and supported a candidate in my district that I was very familiar with. Family ties. He had pedigree. And if y'all don't know who Mike McGee Sr. is, look him up. He was the alderman that sat in the Common Council meeting in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. It's a famous picture with a bag on his head, because they didn't even want to be associated with these racists. And the reason how they got the father out is they redistrict his district. So more people that didn't understand the politics of that area, they widened this area so much that became his area. And of course he lost. So that's how they got the daddy out of the office. Otherwise he kept being reelected. So when the son ran, this was the crap they pulled on the son. This was the crap. So he was arrested, nevertheless, because there was some smoke, and that smoke presented all of the ammunition that the machine needed. Mike was telling Arabs in the community that were selling guns back to the community. He was doing things like saying, "Hey, you're gonna stop that?" Allegedly, let me just make sure I throw that out there. These stores were allegedly being supplied by police officers and selling guns and drugs from the stores. At the selling of the drugs and stuff is a fact, but I'm gonna say, since there's a rumor out that all the stuff came from the police department, we'll say allegedly. So there's a store in the inside of the hood that is recouping over $1 million a year. Over $1 million in one of the most poorest districts. Makes you go, But to make a long story short, Mike McGee was elected. He was elected by a landslide. We put him in office. Less than 3 months later, they found some charges, and they started saying that he was strong-arming businesses and forcing other businesses to give the kids book bags and school supplies, and the things that he was doing, they said that he was doing to the businesses and stuff under duress. A lot of other stuff too, that he was tied with somebody from California with dirty money. It became, we got a gangster, almost like Kwame Kilpatrick over across the water in Detroit. We have this this element in our political house. So then there was a campaign now that was set out to destroy him. Of course, once they arrested him and put him in jail, they were glad because his seat was automatically gone. They didn't have to worry about it. Even though he has a degree in political science and graduated at the top of his class, come from a family of political movers and shakers, once they got that felony charge, you remember he could never run for an office again. So he spent 7 years in prison. I was lost. I mean, literally lost. I was so depressed about the whole thing because the man didn't belong in jail. A young man. And I'm saying, y'all don't give a damn who you give a record to. You just want black men to have a record. You just want black men to be dirty. And that took a lot out of my cell because not only do I admire and like Mike Jr., he was so good for the community. He was so good for the young people. He was so good for the area that he grew up in, and the people respected him. He was a mediator in gang beefs. It was just incredible. And I think that because he was almost walking through the neighborhood like a Superman, they was like, we got to get you, boy. You got to go. Especially with that McGee name. We cannot let that McGee name keep permeating the city of Milwaukee, because we're racist here. We believe in locking you up and throwing away the key. Mike got out of jail because when they put him in jail, they first put his bail at I think $2 or $3 million, saying he was an escape risk. I mean, it was insane. When I think about it, I get angry all over again. So I don't want to get angry all over again. But the fact is, my brother's out now. Trying to make the best of a bad situation. I haven't talked to him yet, other than via text. You might want to know why. Because there's just a lot of stuff that I'm so disappointed in. There's a lot of stuff that I'm so hurt by. There's a lot of things that I know that community was banking on this thing. And we were riding his coattails, and we was riding his feathers. I mean, really. Because we thought that he was going to be something that brought resources to the area that we were in. And he was beginning to do it. We was beginning to see some of his works. However, when they kicked him out of office, it let me further know that even if you win an election, and they'll find a way to get it back. Whenever black people vote in their best interest, so they think, it has never changed our condition. Really. Because what I think is we've been locked in, permanent underclass. And no matter what we do, these people want to keep leeching and sucking off us like a parasite. We are the host. And in this narcissistic system of white dominance, there is no way that they're going to let your vote count and really do something that can effectively change your life. The Democratic Party is a joke. The Democratic Party is the party that had us swinging from trees. The Democratic Party was the party of racists. So why all of a sudden, black people can't turn away from Democrat? You can't turn away from Republican, you can't turn away from Democrat, and then you look at the Republicans and you say they don't like you. But don't you know that they're the same, they're the different wings on the same bird? We don't even see it. I don't know. Do what you want to do. I only vote for referendums. Last campaign, I didn't vote for Donald Trump. I didn't vote for Hillary Clinton. I voted independent. But I will tell you this. If these folks want Donald Trump to be in office again and wreak more havoc, then that's what'll happen. Because the crown run this. The people don't run a damn thing. The crown run it. And you might have to trace this shit all the way back over there to England. That's just my lay low opinion. Okay, I'm gonna stop. I'll be back a little later with another video. In the meantime, if you like what you hear, please like, subscribe, and share. And I'll see you next time in the mental house. Bye-bye. Go vote.